Well, I got home sooner than I had planned. I guess Andrew had some things he had to do this afternoon, so that leaves me working away, guys. We got the truck in the background. Thankful to have that thing back. Same attire, obviously, because we're in the same day. And now we can get to working back on this freaking Legacy to hopefully get this first startup. Now, what do we got left to do? I'm trying to think. What's all freaking left? Let's freaking open this hood and find out. So, what is left to do is we got to hook up one other side of coolant to the turbo. You guys saw in the last video, I hooked up this side over to the turbo. Now I'm going to hook the turbo to the AOS. AOS will then come down and run to that coolant line there. So that way we have pretty much a loop in the system. And that's how I always tell you guys to do. Now, I'll go ahead once again and go over the AOS install, because a lot of times we have FNGs in here, guys, and we all know what FNG is. Freaking new guy, duh. So they need to know how to do this too. So we got our AOS competition only. You guys know that's the only one we run. So if you're buying one of these, don't buy a freaking street, buy a competition. Then next up, you got 3 fittings on the front of it. These 2 top ones, one goes to the driver head, that one goes to the passenger head. This goes to the main block breather right here, and the bottom one goes to the main block breather down there. Now it looks like a jumbled mess because I got lines going everywhere, so I can't really freaking show you. But driver head and coming over and passenger head. So super simple, guys. And then you have your coolant. Obviously we're adding a loop in the system. This thing doesn't even have an expansion tank from the factory, which is pretty freaking neat. Every other car should take note of that, because you guys know I freaking hate them. So now this thing doesn't have that, we didn't have to delete it, so it was already gone. So we're using that as a loop in the system. We have coolant coming up to it, then from it to the turbo, and then turbo to the back head. So, or front of the head, I should say, because this is different. But yeah, that's a quick walkthrough. Told you guys, make it nice and quick. It's very easy. I've gone over it several times, so hopefully everybody knows how to do one. And here comes our best friend, the freaking wind, because I think it just likes you guys. That's no why. So I'm going to jump into this. You can tell this is our push lock fitting, guys. It's literally that simple. You push this onto the fitting. Tense push lock. So we got that. I got the adapter line, so I just need to connect that to the turbo. From there, I mean, we're pretty freaking much done. I mean, we need to put our wideband in, which was in this car, which I believe I can pull it out now because that thing's all tuned. And oh, I need to change the radiator because we got a Quail radiator for this thing, which if you're looking for one of these, it is the same as a 2008 plus STI radiator. So it's either the same, or you guys are gonna find out when I put it in and it doesn't fit, and then I'm gonna yell. No, it says it's the same, so it should be the same. Oh, I gotta put the freaking spark plugs in, son of a. All right, well, I'm gonna get to work. It's got a nice breeze out tonight, cooling down. Thankfully it was 90 degrees today, once again, like always. But you know what happens, then it's going to go into winter, and I wish it was freaking warm, but time to get to work, guys. I'll get that done and update you when we're pretty much ready for first start. Cannot wait to hear this thing. I really want to see what it sounds like. It has a Borla exhaust on it too. I'll show you guys before I get to work. But so every exhaust seems to be out of the freaking inventory right now. Obviously you guys know this has the custom Ranchbuilt turbo kit on it. So no, this is not an off-the-shelf kit that you can just go buy. This was custom built to the car, custom built manifold. Has that nice long runner. For those of you just tuning in, this header is freaking beautiful. So let's get this thing ready to start up, guys. Let's do it. Well, I waited a little bit too long to record because now it's dark, obviously, but this thing is literally 100% buttoned up. Obviously, we just have to throw the intake on, but it looks so pretty without the dang intake on the thing. I don't even want to put it on. So I'll probably put a turbo guard on it. But it has a nice intake for it. We got to put that on. Everything is in the car, so it is literally fluids away from being started. Now, with everything going on, it seems like we have oil filter shortage. I know you probably can't see me much, so I'll try to step into the light. Apparently there's a oil filter shortage, or at least a shortage in my damn auto parts store, so they ordered one in. It'll be here this morning from their hub store. and I will be able to get the oil filter on this thing and get some good old BR1 oil in it, because you know that's all we use, and load a map on this thing. We're ready to freaking hear this thing start up, hear what it sounds like. I'm really curious what it's going to sound like with that long up pipe. Should be equal length header. What do you guys think? Comment below. You think it's going to still sound like Subaru, or you think we're going to sound like a Honda? No, I think it'll sound really good, guys. I can't wait to hear this thing fire up. And that's going to wrap it up for tonight. So you guys are just going to have to wait till the morning, which is going to be about all of 2 seconds for you guys. But you're going to hear this thing fire up. Bam, we're back out here this morning. Car is ready to freaking start, guys. And we went and got our oil filter. Today we're just going to be using this mobile oil filter. And that's just because that's all they had. Normally, I'm sure this is going to be a topic in here. We use OEM oil filters, Wix XP, Mobile One. You know, at the end of the day, like I always say, an oil filter is not going to come save your day, guys. If you have a motor that's failing, it's inevitable that it's going to fail. So obviously you do want something better than like a Fram, but at the end of the day, it's an oil filter, guys. So we're going to get this thing thrown on the car. We're going to get our BR1 thrown in the car too. Then I can start adding coolant to this thing and pray we don't have any leaks, which we shouldn't. And from there, I think I know I'm going to prime the system, guys, but I think I'm going to pull the oil feed off of the turbo just to verify that we are getting oil out of the back of the head to the turbo. And then we'll prime the system, make sure that the engine has oil and turbo has oil before starting it. And from there, guys, we're freaking ready to start this thing. I cannot wait. Just as excited as you guys are to hear what this thing sounds like. No clue. So completely one-off project, and it's going to be pretty badass. So I do need to get the wideband in here. I built the map last night to save time, and as you can tell, it's already freaking getting hot out here. It's going to be pretty hot today, guys, so I'm probably not going to be able to tune this thing until later tonight. You know, I could probably clean up some of the drivability during the day, but power tuning, not going to do until it cools off. And I need to pull the wideband out of Series Gray. I think we might go do the reaction video today, but the wife got in late because she went over to San Francisco yesterday just to hang out for today. So, you know, she didn't get up in time to do it this morning. So we're gonna have to do that maybe tomorrow morning or another early morning. So that way you can see in the car, because nighttime makes it pretty hard to record. So back on this thing, like I said, I'm gonna get this oil filter on, get oil in this thing, get this thing ready to start, and do the first startup. It is finally time that we can freaking prime this thing, guys. So what I did, and any of you can do this, you take the oil feed line off and just put it in a water bottle. I mean, obviously it doesn't matter if there's water in there, because it's not like we're gonna reuse that oil, but you can take it off. That way we can verify we're getting oil out of this. The only reason why I'm doing that on this is just because it's a different setup, although it's still the same design, and that was actually the original oil feed. But this will allow me to know that the engine's getting oil. So I'm gonna prime this thing over, and I took out the fuel pump fuse already. So we will be able to crank this thing over for the first time ever, guys. And it hasn't been cranked over in quite some time. So I pulled that out. I don't hear a fuel pump. We'll start this thing. Well, I mean, turn it over, I should say. Now I'm gonna watch the oil light there on the dash until I start to see it go off. Now you're gonna have to hold the key here for a moment. I do this in intervals so the starter doesn't get too hot. And oil light's gone. That means that we are all primed. Let's go look at that water bottle. We should have oil flowing into that thing, which sounds like we do. So we check our water bottle over here, and you can now see we have oil in the bottom of it. So that's how we know we have oil going to our turbo. So we know everything's hooked up right. And we look underneath this thing. I do not see anything leaking down. I don't know what that is right there though. I have to take a look at that. What is that? Coolant? Yep, that's coolant. Alright. Yep, I know exactly what that is. I questioned this clamp, guys. I shouldn't have used the dang OEM clamp on there. Gosh dang it. I just tried to make it look OEM, and that clamp is just too wore out right there. So I'm gonna pull that thing off real quick. Sucks because it has all this coolant in here. And put a new one on there, and that should stop that leak. Well, it is finally time here. I got my map loaded up. Everything's ready. Wideband's in. It's reading. Let's see what happens, guys. I'm freaking excited. Ready to hear this thing start up. this is my first revision, so we'll see what happens. I still need to set our fuel pressure, so might need to make some adjustments there. I'm gonna just get our V map pulled up here just in case I gotta make some quick adjustments. So let me do that. Okay, we are freaking ready. Let's try this out. Oh, it started right up. All right, I gotta go check for leaks out there too. So let me sit that up there. I'm still gonna have a check engine light because I need to wire up our boost controller. Sorry, I'm trying to look at this right now as it's warming up here. I gotta check our fuel pressure before I make too many adjustments. I hear an exhaust leak almost is what it sounds like. Yep. Alright, I'm gonna turn this thing back off so it doesn't get too hot. Quick little sound clip of it. It sounds like one of the V-bands is not seated correctly. So I'm gonna have to take a look at that, guys. I didn't mess with it too much since it came from Ranchbuilt. I just went over and made sure clamps are tight, but I didn't check to see if like the mating flange of the V-band was still together or not. So let me close this up, put the laptop out of the heat because they do not like the heat, and I will figure out that exhaust leak because it's got to be something to do with that V-band over there. So let me check into that, get rid of that annoying beep, and then we'll get another startup, guys. But freaking happy this thing started right up. So whew, it is warm out here, guys. It's about 92, 93. I'm over to warm days, guys. Soon we'll get a shop. We won't have to be out in the sun. Sure, we'll stop to be out in the sun, but we can dream, right? We finally got that turbo clock correctly. It was just a matter of that V-band on the up pipe going into the flange of the turbo. So we went ahead, we had to loosen the Maven mount there that holds the turbo, go through a bunch, move the down pipe, wiggle some things around, but we got that thing in there, and this thing is finally ready for its first start, guys. And you can hear I have the AC on in the background because I cheated a bit. I pushed the car in the garage because it's so freaking hot outside. 103 today, guys. It's freaking miserable, but we got it going, we got the car ready, and we're ready for this freaking first start. Excited to hear this thing without an exhaust leak and see what that exhaust sounds like. It sounded pretty good at first, but we had that exhaust leak, so let's go ahead, start this thing up. Right as I said the mount for the turbo, I remembered I had to tighten that freaking thing. So it's all tight, we are now ready. Do the first start on this thing. So I do need to still set fuel pressure, so we'll do that once we get this thing going here. And let's fire her up. Oh, no more check engine light because we got that boost controller hooked up. Air fuels don't look too bad there. Let's check our fuel pressure. Oh, we're not that far off, guys. That's pretty close. We need to bump that up a little bit though. We need to go up to 43.5 with your vacuum line off of your regulator. So let's take this thing and crank her up. Right about there. Alright, we got that thing on. Now I need to trim the vacuum line because you can tell I got some length to it. So let me put the camera down. I'm going to trim this, put this on there, and let this thing warm up, leave the coolant system, and from there I can start working on the tune, guys. Hell yeah. Let me get that vacuum line on real quick. Now that we got that vacuum line on, I can give you guys a proper sound clip of this thing. Definitely pretty quiet. I'm curious if it stays quiet when you give it a little bit of a rev. Let's freaking find out. Let's see what happens. That sounds pretty good, guys. Has a little bit of a rasp right at the beginning, but then it clears right up. It doesn't have a resonator in this, so I mean, I'm not going to be too surprised if it has a little bit of a rasp. If he ever decides that he doesn't want to have that raspment, which I'm pretty sure he will, he can put a resonator in there and that should clear that up. But the actual tone of the exhaust doesn't sound bad, and this thing sounds really good, guys. So super happy with it. Now let's see if we got any leaks going on. Oh yeah, bone dry. Hell yeah. Well, I'm not going to bore you guys with this part. I'm going to let the thing sit here, leave the coolant system. Everything's looking good. I mean, it sounds good. I'm gonna check over the air fuel once we're at our warm temp here and see where we're at right now. Yeah, it's at about 16.5, so we can add a bit of fuel here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, let the thing warm up, bleed this coolant system, and then freaking tune time, guys. And then we can start dialing this girl in. And a few keystrokes later, this thing is running super smooth, guys. Super happy of how this thing is idling, and the tip-in is feeling great. Obviously, we have to go drive this thing to dial it in more, but I'm still letting the coolant system bleed, make sure everything's good, make sure we have no leaks. And this thing does sound really good, guys. Really tame, really nice. Just has that little hint of that rasp right at the beginning, so we'll see. You know, if we get in the power band, we have a bunch of rasp, then I'm sure he's gonna end up wanting a resonator, but he can always add that on at any point in time. Just happy to hear this thing running, as I'm sure you guys are. I still need to bolt this intake on, so if you guys wanna see what it looks like with the turbo running, there she is. Now I'll put this on here, and I'll bolt that thing on, so that way we're good to go, and clean up the rest of the tools. Waiting for the weather to clear down. Seems like it's gonna be pretty hot up until late, so I'll probably go out tonight in this thing. As you guys know, I don't show too much anyways with tuning, but I'll be able to go out, dial this thing in, probably put some fresh gas in it. I didn't even look to see how much gas is in this thing, but I'm sure we're gonna have to put some fresh gas in it, because well, it's got about half tank. It didn't smell bad when I was in there, but it's been sitting for a while, guys. Just excited to see this project come together, and you guys, I can't wait to show you his reaction too. Alfredo's reaction is gonna be awesome, because he's been dreaming of this and wanting this, and wanting to show you guys, because I know you guys want to see some legacy content. Well, what's better than a 5th gen legacy on the channel? You know, the one that most people don't even mod. So this is really freaking cool, guys. Definitely a sleeper. You could paint the intercooler black and not even know. It's freaking awesome. So hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm gonna let this bleed out the coolant system rest way, and once we're there, we can finally go rip this thing and get it tuned, get him that power he wants. Hopefully we can overshoot his power goal. I mean, we do have a built engine, but you know, it all just comes with time to see where it wants to be and where it's happy. It is not one of my engines in the car, so as far as clearances and specs go, obviously I don't have any knowledge of that. And our pump gas motors that you guys see us make a lot of power on have a certain spec that we've learned over the years. So if this doesn't have it, it's not gonna make the power. So I'll just go to where the car is happy, and wherever that is, that's where he'll get the car back. So I'll catch you guys up on this video a little bit later. This may end out this video depending on where we're at, just to get some content up to you guys. I'm trying to keep with these daily uploads for you guys. So if that is the case, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back soon with the reaction video in gray. So stay tuned for that. Living life up in the fast lane. Hey. Living life up in the fast lane. And I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down. Living life up in the fast lane. Pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground. Living life up in the fast lane. Life, though you lemons, you just put them in Coronas, Coronas, Coronas. I've been working, I need that advance with the bonus, the bonus, the bonus. Ain't no thoughts about tomorrow, I'm just living in the moment, the moment, the moment. Full tank of gas and 200 on the dash, bitch, I'm zoning, I'm zoning, I'm zoning. Fast lane, living life up in the fast lane. Hey. Living life up in the fast lane. And I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down. Living life up in the fast lane. Pedal to the